Hello everybody and welcome to this lesson from Miss Duckworth's classroom. Today we're going to be looking at how to analyse a literature extract, and this is for the novel Great Expectations. This is part 1 of a 2-video series. Okay, so let's first of all have a look at the assessment objectives. It's really important that you do understand the different assessment objectives for each different question of your exam, just so that you know what is required of you but also what skills are being assessed. So we'll start off with AO1. So AO1 is just you showing that you understand the extract, which also means that you have to have a very good knowledge of the novel. But by this time in the exam, you will have read the novel and you will have done various activities with your teacher. So when you get to the extract, you must show that you understand who is involved, the significance of those characters, how they're characterised, what's happening, why this particular section is significant to the story as a whole, any themes that are there, and also your AO1 is using quotations, so you referencing the text in your answer. AO2 is regards to you interpreting meaning. What is the deeper meaning? What are the big ideas? What are the themes? Think about the writer's intention and the message. What is Dickens trying to show you and why? What's his purpose? And also any relevant contextual information. Please don't bolt on context if it's not relevant. Only use context if it actually enhances your answer. AO3 is all to do with your analysis. So this is all about the how. So your how is to do with method. So how are events or characters, relationships, how are they presented to you, the reader? Think about language, structure and form. Everything that a writer utilises, how do they shape meaning? You must also show that you understand why they're used. And again, this links back to not only the message and the intention of Dickens, but also the effect on the reader. And finally, AO4. This is regards to your own essay writing skills, how you present your ideas in a coherent way, how relevant your ideas are to the question, the development of your own personal response to the question and the extract. With regards to approaching this particular question, there are various steps that I use myself and that I do suggest. So just take a look at these steps, think about which ones maybe you already do, or maybe which ones you can incorporate, or it may be that you do a condensed version of these. The first step is quite simple, just read the question, deconstruct it, highlight the keywords, think about what the focus is. This is the question we're going to be looking at today. How does Dickens make this such a significant moment in the novel? So for today, our key word here is significant. And if we're deconstructing, how is your method? So how does Dickens do this? How does he make it significant? What does he do? How and why? This is the extract that I'm going to be using for the purpose of today, so I do advise that you pause the video at this point, just have a bit of a read, just kind of think about where it's from. Obviously, I've said here it's from chapter 56. Think to yourself whereabouts in the novel, what's happened before, what happens after, and just have a quick read through and think about what ideas you were initially kind of given. So why is it important? Why is it significant? Now we're on to step 2, which is for us to properly read the extract, and this is where we ask ourselves several different questions. These questions don't change regardless of what the question is or regardless of what the extract is itself. So first of all, where is it from? What is happening in this extract? Which characters are involved? Where is it? Why is it significant? What is the mood? What are the themes? What is Dickens trying to show us and why? And also, number 3, think about the big ideas. So what are the big ideas that Dickens is trying to present? What themes can you see? Which themes are evident? And then at this point, you just brainstorm ideas and also brainstorm keywords that you can use. This particular step is really important, because whatever you do here should really help you with the rest of your planning and also your essay writing. So just try and get as much out of this as you can, get as many ideas as you can on the paper, and then you can think about which ones you can use and which ones you're able to then formulate into a plan. So these are my notes. So I've read the extract and I've just quickly brainstormed as many notes as I can. You could just do these as a big brainstorm on your paper, just to have it as a plan. I like to organise it just in terms of the significance of the extract, what I already know, because remember, no matter where this extract is from, you are coming to the extract with your prior knowledge. There is nothing new here in this extract. There's nothing that you haven't covered. There's no idea, no theme that you haven't covered. You know how to talk about the characters. So don't forget that you already have a wealth of knowledge that's going to help you with this question. And again, what I already know about the characters and the relationships, and then just make a list of words or phrases. Think about your key vocabulary that you can use to describe the big ideas in this extract. All of this is going to be invaluable. There'll be many phrases or words that you jot down here that can then just be taken directly into a plan, or that you can utilize within the body of your essay. So if you're writing your point for your body essay and you're analysing a quotation, you think, I'm not really sure what to say about that. You may look back at this and think, oh, actually, I can say that this quotation shows the moral development of Pip's character. So there may be something here that really helps to push your essay forward. So once you've done that, once you've got your quick brainstorm, you've got some keywords down, you've brainstormed what you already know and the significance, then you can go back through the extract and you're really now thinking about bits that stand out to you. So if you've already brainstormed ideas about justice or relationships or criminality or family, then you'll think, well, actually, now I've brainstormed those ideas, that's what I'm going to be looking for as I go back through the extract. That's what I'm going to be trying to highlight in terms of quotations that are going to be useful for me. So when you go through the extract and you're specifically now looking for things to highlight, these are things that are really going to help you in your essay. I've just put a list of things. It's not exhaustive by any means, but these are just the common things that you can look for. If you struggle under time conditions, or you just struggle for inspiration when you look at an extract and you initially think, oh gosh, there's nothing that I can pick out of this, then I've just given you a list of things and you can just mentally go through them. So think about how it's organised, if there's any conflict or tension, any changes, any shifts. Is there any theme that you can pick out? Which words stand out? What kind of sentences? Any methods or techniques? So I don't have to go through the entire list, but you do have things there that can help you, because remember that once you start to pick elements out of the extract, this is AO3, this is your how. So you're thinking about how are things presented to you? What can you analyse? What can you comment on? And then why? Why are they presented in this way? So this is just my initial highlighting of the extract. So these are the things that I've initially thought were interesting or stood out, or just fed back into some of the ideas that I'd already brainstormed. I'll just quickly go through a few of them with you. One of the best things that you can do is to try to look for patterns. When you're looking for patterns, it just means that you can group quotations together and they can formulate your evidence for one point. So what I noticed as I started to reread this extract is I noticed that there were motifs. So we have the motif of light, we have the motif of hands and that physical contact. So you can see that I've started off with light, and then I've got another one for hand, and then I've got light again. And then I noticed that time is actually mentioned several times. So maybe that's some pattern that I can pick out. And I also thought about things that I would be able to analyse. I can talk about the motif of light. I can talk about it as a symbol. I can probably talk about the connotations. So I just tried to pick out elements that were rich in analysis and that linked back to an idea that I already had. Now, once you've highlighted, and don't be afraid to just highlight as much as stands out to you, because then you are going to eliminate some of the choices that you feel that you don't need. But once you've highlighted and you've brainstormed, you can then start to formulate a more concrete plan. So then you can think, right, which examples that I've highlighted actually do help me to answer the question? Which examples are interesting enough for me to comment on? If there's nothing that you can say, don't pick it. Always pick the examples you think, well, I know I can zoom in on that word and I can analyse, or I know that I can talk about the fact that that's a short sentence, or I can talk about repetition. So if you feel there's not much in there, it's not meaty enough for you to comment on or analyse, then just move on and pick a different one. You can also think, right, which examples am I now eliminating, which are of no use, there's nothing in that I can say, or they're not really relevant now you've gone over it with a second look. What are your ideas now in response to the question? You had your initial brainstorm, several different ideas flying around. So now you've looked in more detail at the quotations. Which ones do you think will help you formulate different ideas? Then once you've got an idea, which evidence would then back that up, which would reinforce that. And then obviously you're thinking about your hows, you're thinking about your methods, and back to author intention. Why does Dickens do this? What is his message? What is he trying to show you? And don't forget, go back to this. Have this by your side. Keep going back, flick back. It's on a different piece of paper. It's at the start. Then just keep looking back and think, right, okay, I can use this to help me. I can use it to help me formulate points in answer to the question. I can use it to help me explain certain quotations. Maybe some of these keywords will really help you with your explanations or your analysis. Maybe they can help you with your inference and your interpretation, or maybe it's just context that helps you. But do utilize those. And it may even be that you actually go back through once you've got a more concrete idea and just highlight the elements of this that you now think, oh, actually that will be useful once I start writing, or that is going to be really helpful when I come to analysing that quotation about time. And then you make a plan. Obviously you make your plan however is best for you. We're all different. It may be that you do bullet points, it may be that you do a spider diagram, brainstorms. I'm more of a table person myself. If you've got time, you can do a table. If you don't have time, then this is the most important part, okay? For the purpose of this, even I wouldn't fill in every element of this table because I wouldn't have time. So I just utilize the table just so that you've actually got an idea of what you want in terms of your plan. I will show you how to show where your quotations are, how to add your notes, but in a much more time effective way. But for the purpose of this, I think the table helps you to see exactly where my thinking is in terms of my plan. So have your 3 different points, and do really think about creating a full sentence, a full point, a full topic sentence here, because that will drive that entire section of your essay. You're looking for roughly 3 sections of your essay, 2 to 3, depending on how detailed or developed you think each one is going to be. I've got 3 points here, and then what you want is you want 2 to 3 quotations to reinforce each of your points. And again, I will show you how to find these and how to make sure that you can clearly see how they're part of your plan. So from everything that I've read and all the things I've already brainstormed, there are 3 main things that really stand out for me, and these will form the body of my essay. 1, Dickens effectively presents the closeness of the relationship. 2, Dickens creates a sense of pathos and tension through the impending death of Magwitch. And 3, Dickens continues to convey the change in Pip through his humanity and generosity. Also at this point, I'd just like to remind you, if any of this I'm skimming over, it's a little bit too fast for you, think, oh well, how does she get to that point where she's got this lovely sentence here, or how do I formulate a point, how do I choose quotations or embed them? Then there are a range of micro lessons, much shorter than this one. They're just quick, snappy, they're focused on key literature skills. So if you feel that you need a little bit of additional help with some of the essay writing skills, do move over to some of the micro lessons on my YouTube channel, and they will just help you to plug any gaps that you think that you may have. Okay, so we'll go back to my initial highlighting, and again, like I said to you, there's no way I'll be able to use all of these, and I wouldn't expect anybody to use this many quotations because it needs to be a detailed analysis in terms of what you're saying as well. You can't just throw lots and lots of quotations in. So just want to remind you that now what I'm doing is I'm going to go back and I'm going to select the quotations that now I think like perfectly reinforce my point. Some of them now are not going to be relevant. Maybe I'm going to have 4 or 5 that are going to be relevant for my first point, but I have to decide which ones are going to be the most useful, which will I be able to analyse in the most amount of detail. And this is where you have to try and really eliminate those ones that maybe you wouldn't be able to talk in as much detail about. So this is now effectively point 1, and then we've got point 2 and point 3, and this is what I advise you do just for time purposes. Whereas I had the table to show you build your plan in terms of have a point and choose your quotations and then maybe add any notes to your quotations, you can actually do all of that plan on your extract once you've got your points. And as you can see, all I've done now is done the hard work. I've gone through, I've selected quotations. Now I've just literally got to skim back through and choose 3 that I think go with my first point. And because they all go with point number 1, I've given them the number 1. So when I'm writing up my essay, it's very, very quick for me to see this is the point that I'm currently covering. This is the evidence that I'm going to use to back up my point. And then you can just quickly embed it and then start to analyse it. The same, these are all the quotations I'm going to use for point 2. And these are the quotations I'm going to use for point 3. If you have time, do try and do a small activity like this where you just quickly add notes around the quotations that you've chosen. You can see that the words in bold, this is what I've identified a technique here, and then I've just given a few words what I would like to say in analysis. So this is my analysis or my inference. So I've got the motif of light here, what I think it suggests here, and then I've got a technique here, it's the repetition of the word time, and then I've said what I think it represents and why it's been used. So if you've got time to do that, just whiz through and just jot some notes. If not, if you don't have time for something so detailed, maybe just write a few notes in terms of what you want to say about it. So now what you've got is you've got what you want to say with regards to why this extract is significant. You've selected your evidence. You, hopefully, if you've had time, just annotated a little bit for technique or language choices that you could make nice inferences on, or you could make analytical points around. You've got some notes on analysis, but you've got a very, very clear plan. And I cannot stress enough how important a plan is for a literature essay. Many pupils feel that that's wasted time. They want to just get straight into the essay. That is a mistake. Even if your plan is very, very brief, that's better than nothing. Having something to give you a coherent essay that's got a very clear structure is very, very important. And once you've got all of that, you can now write up your answer in detail. And just remember, just to recap everything that we've been through, if you want something easy to remind you of how to approach the extract question up until the point of you writing it up, then just remember the DREAM technique. So deconstruct the question, read, understand, highlight the extract, analyse the choices that you've made in terms of what you've highlighted, get rid of, eliminate any irrelevant choices or weak choices, now you've got a better plan, and then to have your formal plan. So thank you very much for taking part in this lesson. Do look out for the next one, which is how to write up the answer. So I'll show you exactly how to turn those notes and to turn that plan into a proper essay style answer. Thank you very much. Goodbye.